Shanti sister, how are you?
Om Shanti, brother. I'm fine. What about you?
Yeah, I'm very fine. We are going to see a very interesting topic today. Um, so, all religions offer food to God, but the way of offering is different.
Yes.
The Muslims they kill goat or camel. They say it's offering to God,
Yes.
but uh,
Halal.
yeah, but
They
they don't do it
God and
inside the house. Nor
yes.
do they keep it in front of God because they don't know where God is. So obviously they can't do that. But Hindus, in front of deities or the photos of deities, they offer food, pure vegetarian sattvic food that is free from onion and garlic. Especially when they offer to Vishnu, they don't add onion and garlic.
Mm.
So then now question arises: does God eat food? Does God need anything? Because in Quran it says, I don't have any need because he doesn't have a body like us. That's the reason. But in Hindus, we worship deities which have bodies. Although we worship deities, we consider them to be God. We don't know which one is God, whether it's
Mm.
Shiva or Muruga or Ganesh or Ram or Krishna. We don't know. But some hold on to something and they develop faith only on that deity. But most of the Hindus worship everybody. They show no partiality. Even if you keep Jesus, they will worship. So they are like this because that's the path of devotion. Uh, Path of devotion, opposite of that is the path of knowledge, which God gives us. So
Mm.
only through knowledge we know the meaning of all the customs and systems of the path of devotion in all religions. So
Mm.
the reason they offer God the food is not because he eats, because he doesn't have a body.
Mm.
And also the photo is not going to eat, the deity statue is not going to eat. Till they keep it thinking that God will eat. Because they will cook the food so pure with remembrance of God. Not only
Mm.
Brahma Kumaris, even strict devotees, they take utmost care. They will take bath, only then they will enter kitchen and they will cook food. They will either sing some devotional songs themselves or they will play it in mobile phone or somewhere. So they
Food with
lit,
full love.
yeah, uh,
Food
they will lit
love.
the incense stick. So it will be like entering temple. Even the kitchen will be like that. In some
Mm.
places, they keep kitchen and the place of worship in the same room. Previously, it used to be separate room. Now, people are becoming more and more poor, so they can't afford a separate room for God. So, in order to understand why exactly we
Abort.
offer food to God is, so we need to understand this time cycle to get the answer why we offer food to God. This is a 5,000 year time cycle called Kalpa, the first half of which was heaven and the last half is hell. So those who were in heaven, they themselves take rebirth after 2,500 years in hell, where we are now. So towards the last 100 years, God from his supreme abode enters earth. He enters an old man's body and he names him Brahma and starts giving knowledge through the mouth of Brahma. So thereby we become the direct children of God through Brahma, which is why we are called Brahma Kumar and Brahma Kumari. So God says, in heaven you were free from these five vices: lust, anger, greed, attachment, and ego. And that's why we were happy throughout. Of course, we were very rich, we were healthy, we were beautiful. Despite that, we were completely soul conscious. That is,
Mm.
we considered ourselves to be souls that shines like a tiny star in between the eyebrows. We interact with each other with the awareness that we are interacting with the soul and not with the body. And that's the reason we were not attracted to the human body or any worldly things, because
Mm.
of the that's the power of purity that makes our mind not to create any waste thoughts. So that's why we were constantly happy, because the true nature of soul itself is happiness and peacefulness. It is when we develop waste thoughts or vicious thoughts, we no longer derive happiness from the soul, and that happens when we start taking birth in hell, because we become body conscious instead of soul conscious. So the only way to attain pleasure is to derive it from the external things or external beings. So that's how we become addicted to sensual pleasures and vices like lust, anger, greed, attachment, and ego. So now, because of these five vices, we start committing many sins. And once the amount of sins reach a threshold, we start getting punished for that. So that's why we are getting many diseases, poverty, natural calamities, conflict between families, and conflict between nations. Everything happens as a result of these five vices, and the root cause of that is body consciousness. That's why God asked us to get rid of body consciousness by being in soul conscious stage. So all we need to do is to consider ourselves to be soul, and that's not enough. So the only way to get rid of body consciousness is not only to consider ourselves to be souls that shines like a tiny star in between the eyebrows, which is why we apply tilak here, but also we need to connect our mind to God. He is also a soul that shines like a tiny star in the golden red colored light world. So we need to remember him uh, like a star in the golden red colored sky. So we have committed sins for the past 2500 years, but only in this last birth we are getting knowledge directly from God. How is it possible to destroy all the sins we have been committing for the past 2500 years in this one birth? That also we didn't get this knowledge right from our birth, right? Maybe we would be in this knowledge for 5, 10 years, 15, 20, like that. So we need to make sure that every second is spent in remembrance of God. For that, you can create several methods and tactics. One such method is to consider God to be uh, uh, your husband, your father, your child, several relationships. Establish all relationships with God, because not only we have to uh, destroy these past sins, but also we have to forget everybody, all relationships with humans, because that will give pain during the destruction of the world when they die right in front of our eyes. So God says, have no relationship with anybody except me, God Shiva. He is called Allah by Muslims, Heavenly Godfather by Christians. God is just one. He comes only once. Only once we get the direct knowledge from God. So now we need to remember God as much as possible. And also He is giving knowledge on daily basis in the form of Murli, which is available absolutely free in all Brahmakumari's Rajyog meditation center. You can Google it yourself for the center near your place. And also you can Google for Murli in many languages. It's available in many websites and YouTube. So we'll be giving some links in the description below. Please check it and make use of it. So we need to occupy our mind in remembrance of God, in remembrance of the knowledge, and also in remembrance of our aim. Why do we remember God after all? To destroy sins. Why do you destroy sins? In order for us to enter heaven again. Unless we become pure, we can't enter this pure world. So we have to go there. So how do we go there? By developing divine qualities that we originally possessed while we were in heaven. We were free from these five vices: lust, anger, greed, attachment, and ego. Instead, we were filled with divine qualities like love, peace, happiness, and purity. So, it is by listening to God's knowledge and by being in remembrance of God that we develop power to get rid of those worldly attractions and to forget worldly relations and to establish all relationships just with God. So now we have to establish all relationship with God. So if you take a girl, she's not going to remember her physical father forever. Like she's not going to remember him every second. She's not going to remember her husband every second. Maybe at the time of marriage, maybe she may remember, but after that, she's not going to remember him all the time. But when it comes to a newborn baby, every second, even in her sleep, she will be remembering child. She is ready to sacrifice herself for growing that child. That is the reason we need to consider God to be our newborn baby. So that is the reason in Hindu temples, especially in Krishna temple, we see here the priest bathing Krishna idol, baby Krishna idol. They wear him dresses and ornaments, and they feed him food and milk. They put him on cradle and swing him, and in the night they put him to sleep. So they take care of him like a baby. But Krishna is not God. Only God Shiva, who has no body on his own, is God. So we can't bathe him, but we can feed him because he enters an old man's body. So by feeding him in remembrance of God Shiva, you are actually feeding God. Anyway, God is not going to take your food, but he is going to take your love. It is out of love that we feed God, right? In Hindus, they know the statue is not going to eat the food they offer, but still they have love for the God. They offer it with love. God is going to take that love. God needs that love. And it is with lovely remembrance that we are able to destroy maximum amount of sin. That's the reason our remembrance should be filled with love. It should not be mechanical. All religions, they chant mantras just mechanically because they don't know God. They don't know where he is, how he is, what do we get by remembering him, what is the relationship of God with us. They know nothing. How can they develop love? So God himself gives his introduction now. Only when he comes, he can give his introduction. Till then, what we have read through religious scriptures, they all are false stories. Nothing of that sort ever happened, be it Bible or Quran or Mahabharata or Ramayana. But they have a deep secret of what is to happen in the end, that is now. So what happens inside us, they have portrayed as the story that happens outside. It is our effort to destroy these five vices that they have shown as our enemies so they show as giant devils or demons like that. But we don't fight with anybody. Even if they do injustice to us, we don't fight with them. We don't even go to court. We don't cause them harm in any way. That's the God's direction. You know why? Because deities don't cause harm to anybody. It is our aim to enter heaven that we receive teachings from God. So no matter what others do to us, we have to give them nothing but love. Our words should be filled with love, hearty love, not just love from the mouth. And our eyes should be filled with pure vision, because that's how deities would be. It should not have any trace of lust or anger or greed or attachment or ego in us. So, mother always remembers her child, even though she doesn't feel like eating while she is pregnant. She takes food on time because she knows that it is necessary for the womb inside. So she take she takes care of the child when it is within her womb, and she takes care of the child even after delivery. So for that, she used to take nutrient food. Uh, she used to think of good things because that will impact the child. So that's why they are always in remembrance of their kids. Likewise, if we adopt God to be our kid, then we don't eat what is not liked by our sweet child God. Right? When somebody is breastfeeding her child, some food is allergic to child, maybe. So she avoids, even though she likes it, she avoids, maybe like eating ice cream, like that. Likewise, God says, I don't like non-vegetarian food. I don't like food prepared with onion and garlic. I don't like food prepared by anybody except you. Right? Mother is special to child. Likewise, for God, we are special. So we have to prepare food for God in remembrance of God and feed Him. And only after the child finishes eating, the mother starts eating from the same plate. Likewise, first we need to feed him. Of course, we will be doing it with intellect, and then we will eat. Throughout the process of eating, make sure God is in front of you as a child, and every time you feed him in mind, then you eat yourself, or you can make God feed you. Make him your father when he feeds you. Make him your child when you feed him. So, this is a tactic to be in remembrance of God all the time. This is called Sahaj Raj Yoga, which means the easy form of Raj Yoga. But you know the benefit of this? You get heaven as a result. We are not doing blindly like we do in the path of devotion.
Ma.
So we are doing it in Brahma Kumaris. As a result, it is imitated by devotees in the next kalpa, because what happens in one kalpa, that is this 5000 years, will repeat kalpa after kalpa. So whatever the customs and systems followed in the path of division by any religion, they are just a physical imitation of what we do now. So it is by remembering God, by using these tactics, that we are able to wash away all our sins and become pure and enter heaven as deities. So depending on how much you remember, accordingly you will claim the status. So the number one status is nothing but the status of Lakshmi and Narayan. That's why in South India they have the celebration of opening ceremony of heaven in Vishnu temple, because he is the first king of heaven. You can become that. The status is open to everybody. All it takes to become Narayan is time and the effort. And the effort is just being in remembrance of God all the time. and follow everything he says through Murli. That's it. So we offer food to God for real. And as an imitation in the path of devotion, they offer food to God. They offer food to deities. So actually, we are becoming deities by offering food to God, and they are offering deities the food. And also to God Shiva, they offer food. So this is the exact reason why all religions offer food to God. But we are the luckiest ones that are able to offer food to God for real, because we know how He is, where He is, how to feed Him, and what do we benefit by feeding Him, what do we benefit by considering Him to be husband, or lover, or child, teacher, guru. We have all relationship with God only once, that is now. Don't miss this golden opportunity. If you miss it now, you will never get this opportunity again, because whatever happens will repeat kalpa after kalpa. So even in the next kalpa, you will miss it. Om Shanti. Thanks for watching.